I certainly could not write a book about the celebrities I've known without including Eddie. I was fortunate to get to know my grandfather for the first 12 years of my life. It wasn't for quite a while that I realized what a huge star he was. He was number one in every facet of the entertainment industry, starting out in vaudeville, appearing in Florence Ziegfeld's Follies, breaking all records at the Palace, and finally having his name above the title in the book show Whoopi. Speaking of records, he made plenty of them, scoring smash hits for Victor, Columbia, Decca, and many other labels. Those hits included Makin' Whoopi, If You Knew Susie, Ida, and Margie. He went on to radio, starring in the number one show for many years and introducing songs like Santa Claus is Coming to Town and Try a Little Tenderness. He even wrote a song called Merrily We Roll Along, which became the Merry Melodies cartoon theme, one of the most memorable tunes ever written. His films were enormous box office hits. Some of the titles were Whoopi, Palmy Days, Kid Millions, Roman Scandals, and The Kid from Spain. When these films first aired on television in the early 60s, my mother would wake up my sister and me to watch them on the Late Late Show. Though a little bleary-eyed, we had a very enjoyable time. As part of his philosophy of living, he also gave back a lot with his charitable efforts, such as starting the March of Dimes. He did benefit after benefit during the war to help wounded soldiers and to get men, women, and children out of their dangerous surroundings overseas. He gave large sums from his own pocket. When television arrived, Eddie Cantor was the only host of the Colgate Comedy Hour to beat Ed Sullivan every time in the ratings, and they were good friends. It was at this time in his life that I came along. My grandfather visited New York, my home, from California, his final residence, only a few more times after his heart attack in 1952. He hosted the Colgate Comedy Hour from California in 1951 after his first season in New York. He continued doing that and his radio shows until the mid-1950s. I started making trips with my family to the West Coast at a very early age. When I started school, we would end up spending every summer out there. It was a ball. As I mentioned, I really didn't know I had a famous grandfather. I just knew he was a lot of fun. He tried out his old vaudeville magic tricks on me, like making a banana go from ear to ear or turn into a quarter. He had a captive audience in me, and a good laugher as well. His big trademark eyes were full of joy, and his hair was as black as shoe polish, which he was probably using on it at the time. We had great times together. I used to love to watch cartoons at his house because NBC had given him one of the first color TVs. What an event that was for me to see my animated friends in living color, a far cry from my tiny black and white set in New York. I'll never forget a particular luncheon movie with him. He asked what film I would like to see, and I mentioned the Three Stooges' new one called Have Rocket Will Travel. Well, I couldn't have found a more perfect movie for Grandpa and grandson. They were old friends of his. We went into Beverly Hills to have lunch, which was a cheeseburger and a milkshake, and then to Hollywood for the movie. I was only 7 years old. My grandfather didn't have a swimming pool at his last home, but he didn't want his grandkids to miss out on one of the summer's joys of a California trip. He instead called his friends, Groucho Marx, Dinah Shore, and songwriter Jimmy McHugh, and sent my mother and her kids off to their houses for a day of swimming. This was such a different lifestyle compared to my city escapades. In fact, it was similar in a way to my grandfather's experience as a kid. He only knew the streets of New York, but was given a chance to see the countryside when he was sent by the Educational Alliance of New York City to surprise Lake Camp for 2 weeks. He said he had never seen that much green except on a pool table, and he supported the camp for the rest of his life. Although there were sweet memories of my grandfather and grandmother Ida, there were also sad memories. He had to have an oxygen unit in his bedroom to help him through his later years. His first daughter, Margie, passed away from cancer at the age of 44 in 1959. Ida died in 1962. These deaths really took their toll on my grandfather. He finally passed away in 1964. His final letter to me from June of that year was ironic. He said he felt I would be the one to carry on the show business tradition in the family. Well, not only did I write all the songs for a musical that ended up on Broadway, but it was also I who produced all the CDs, tapes, and DVDs featuring Eddie Cantor that are currently available on the market. I am so proud of preserving his work. Not only that, but a fan letter came in from a lady asking if she could start a fan club in memory of my grandfather. It couldn't have been more perfect timing. The fan club was established in 1993 by Sheila Riddle and passed over to Michelle Malick a few years later. The membership has been growing ever since. Hopefully, with all of these products and a character, albeit a phonied up one, on HBO's Boardwalk Empire.